You probably know, it's an exciting time to be in the market for an affordable flagship phone, but that's never been as true as it is right now. Because of this, let's get it open. This is the Xiaomi Mi 8 Pro, which has literally just been announced in the UK about 5 minutes ago. The packaging is well put together, but nonetheless a pretty familiar experience. And inside you also get a transparent silicone case, which is pretty normal but makes a lot more sense on a phone like this. You'll see why in a minute. There's a USB Type-C to headphone jack adapter, and if we just tip the phone out, underneath there is an 18-watt fast charger, and of course a USB Type-C cable for charging and data transfer. The Mi 8 Pro feels like Xiaomi's equivalent to the OnePlus 6T. Both are in a similar price bracket and both offer in-display fingerprint scanners over their predecessors. And Xiaomi has taken a different approach, using what they call a pressure-sensitive scanner. Unlike other scanners that constantly ping to check whether you've placed your finger on them, this one only activates when it detects pressure, which means it not only saves power, but can also work at just the right moment to speed things up. To be honest, I'm not a massive fan of in-display fingerprint scanners in their current state, but the OnePlus 6T kind of gets away with it because of how fast it is. What surprised me then is that the Mi 8 Pro is just as fast, and the position is actually a bit higher up, which means that I don't have to readjust my grip every time I want to use it, like I do with the 6T. So in a way, it's better than the 6Ts, which is a real achievement considering this is one of that phone's main selling points. Then we've got that transparent back, which is an interesting one. Teardowns have shown that the components you're seeing here aren't the real deal, just plastic cutouts made to look pretty, which in my opinion kind of takes away from the charm of it. At the same time, I'd take this over a solid flat colour any day. It manages to look clean, whilst also appealing to the nerd within me. And while it might look like a toy, it definitely doesn't feel like one. The glass is firm, with next to no flexing. In terms of power, the phone matches up almost perfectly with the OnePlus equivalent. Snapdragon 845, 8GB of RAM, and 128GB of storage. So in terms of gaming, it's not going to run into any issues, but MIUI, the skin on top of Android, doesn't feel quite as snappy as the Oxygen OS on the OnePlus 6T. Not to mention, the playful aesthetic with soft pastel colours is completely at odds with the hardcore circuit board design of the phone. But there are features in the software that I appreciate. Being able to adjust display color temperature using a color wheel is great, and the built-in photo editor has all the features you'd want, plus a few you didn't realize you wanted, like being able to triangulate photos, which turns them into a pretty neat wallpaper. Camera-wise, it's the same setup as the standard Mi 8, which makes it solid, but it needs good lighting. Both cameras have a 12 megapixel resolution, and in the day, photos have a certain crispiness to them. Landscapes and buildings seem to come out really well, but with only an f1.8 aperture and no night mode of any sort, low light is an area where differences with more expensive phones become very clear. Also, video stabilization leaves a lot to be desired, and there's no option to record video at 60 frames per second, even when you set the quality to 1080p. From the front, the phone doesn't look too different from cheaper phones like the Pocophone F1, which is to say it's not bad, but also pretty unsurprising. Like the Pocophone, you do get an infrared face scanner hidden in that notch. The Mi 8 Pro has a 6.2-inch 1080p AMOLED display, which reaches a brightness of 600 nits, so you're generally okay outdoors, but at the same time you won't confuse it for the Galaxy Note 9's display, which can reach about 710. What worries me though is the battery. While the standard Mi 8 had a 3400 mAh capacity, this phone has only 3000, and my suspicion is that it's smaller here so they could fit that fake circuit board in. It's not the end of the world, and it is somewhat helped by support for Qualcomm Quick Charge 4 Plus, so a full charge shouldn't take much longer than an hour. So, this is not a full review, but so far the Mi 8 Pro feels like a very good phone, but just one that's a little bit lost in this new wave of other very good phones. I really want to love it, but it's more expensive than the Mi 8, it comes with a smaller battery, and is up against much fiercer competition. What do you think? If you are new to the channel, it would mean a lot to me if you could smash that subscribe button. I've got plenty more content on a lot of upcoming phones coming very soon. With that being said, my name is Aaron, this is Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'll catch you in the next one.